Hi guys, welcome back to Alamat Short Stories, where we narrate short stories submitted or researched by our team to share with you all. Our tale for this week is about a couple of people meeting an old lady while crossing a specific bridge. This tale is called Ghost of an Old Lady Speaks to Missionaries on a Bridge in the Philippines by Mickey Muffin. This is not my story, nor my experience. I was a Mormon missionary too, in Northern California, in the early 1980s. I am now ex-Mormon and a Deheshist. I had paranormal experiences as a Mormon missionary, but they were not faith-promoting. Below is a faith-promoting account by a Filipino missionary. It happened to them a lot, apparently. This is from a liberal Mormon publication. Over a dozen years ago, when I was a new editor for the Liahona, the international magazine of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I was sent to the Philippines for 2 weeks to interview church members there and write an article about them. The church's Philippines area office staff arranged my itinerary. They selected 3 rather diverse cities and had the local leaders select a few of their more notable members for me to interview. They were obviously trying to put the church's best foot forward. In Manila, I interviewed such luminaries as a luscious movie star, a physician who composed music to the tune of about 300 movie scores at the time of our interview, and a freelance producer of television commercials. In another city, I interviewed the wealthy owner of a silver shop in one of the church's area authority 70s, as they were called back then. It was in the third city, however, that I met my most memorable Filipino. He lived in Tacloban, which was decimated by Typhoon Haiyan 14 years after my visit. In 1999, Tacloban was a bustling, somewhat backward city on the east coast of the remote island of Leyte, where MacArthur had made his famous return to the Philippines. And it was indeed remote, an oppressively hot and humid corner of paradise. I stayed in the fanciest hotel in town, in a cinder block room with an industrial tile floor, no air conditioning, and no hot running water. Geckos scampered about on the wall outside my room. I was informed that the previous week the locals had caught a 40-foot anaconda in the middle of town. Enchanting. The church apparently had no high-profile members in this sultry little city, so I spent my day interviewing rank-and-file members, and among them was a Jewel, or perhaps I should say a Jewel, for that was his name. Jewel had recently returned from serving a mission in another part of the Philippines. He was now a college student. We had a nice chat. Speaking of his mission, he said it wasn't the best 2 years of my life, but it was the best 2 years for my life. Friends who were not members of the church criticized him for wasting those 2 years. But he told them, I may have forgotten my X plus Ys, but I will treasure the 2 years I served as a missionary for the rest of my life. This was genuine and heartfelt. But I didn't know if any of it would end up in my article. It was pretty ordinary RM talk. Near the end of our conversation, however, I had a thought. Tell me about the most spiritual experience you had in your mission. As Jewel sat silently for a moment, pondering my question, the hair on my arms suddenly stood on end. I'd never seen that happen before, but I took it as a sign that he was going to tell me something extraordinary. It was October 21, 1997. Jewel began, a mere 7 days after he was transferred to a new area and assigned to serve as zone leader. His companion was also new to the city, so it was like we were opening the area. That evening, they were visiting a church member, and afterwards, they had to walk 3.5 kilometers to an appointment. This would have happened after sunset, which, at about 10 degrees north of the equator, takes place before 6:30 p.m. on even the longest day of the year. While crossing a bridge, they met an elderly woman. They talked for a while, and she told them she was 93 years old. Then she said, "Why don't you come to my house tomorrow morning?" They asked where she lived, and she described a house not far from the bridge, a residence they recognized well, an old, pretty house from the Spanish era. "We've already passed that house many times," they told her, "but no one is ever home." "Be there by 9:30, she replied, "and I'll be waiting for you." So they went the next morning and knocked on her door. Someone was indeed home, but not the elderly woman they had met the night before. A younger woman answered the door. They asked for the old woman, by name Lourdes Amarile Estrada, and the younger woman looked surprised. "Are you kidding?" she said. "When did you meet her?" "Just last night on the bridge, right there," they told her. "Are you sure?" "Yes, we're sure." "Can you point out her picture on the wall there?" Even though there were several pictures on the wall, the missionaries had no trouble picking out the picture of the old woman they had met on the bridge. "You know," said the younger woman, "she's been dead for 15 years. She then informed them she was Lourdes Amarile Estrada's youngest daughter, and her mother had died at age 93. "They let us in," Jewel told me with a big grin, "and they were baptized and sealed in the temple. 2 parents and 5 children." What do you guys think of this week's story? If you have a similar experience like this, let me know down in the comment section. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel to your friends and family. If you have short stories you would want me to narrate, send them over at mralamatph@gmail.com. Salamat guys, and see you in the next one.